So now it's time to get started building our sites in Dreamweaver. Hopefully you have done the previous assignment where you gathered all of your information, and if you have not, please don't try to move ahead till you've done that, because as you'll see, it'll be a lot more difficult that way. So we're going to follow through slides 6 through I believe 11 or 12 today, and it's mostly getting you started in creating the home page of your website. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to launch Dreamweaver. Okay, I've already done that here, so give you a second to get launched, and your Dreamweaver should be set up the way you want it. And then we are going to set up a new local site, okay, because we're going to create a brand new site. So you're going to go to Site, New Site. You can name it whatever you want. Mine is going to be SC Site. That way it's mine, Susan Cardillo Site. And, I already did that one, so let's go with Susan's site. Okay. And I am, the root folder I have chosen is the same folder as SC site, which is fine because I have a folder already, okay? So that's what that means. You won't get that. So we're inside our new site now. We want to start with a blank document. So you've named your site and you want to make sure you put it into your folder. I already had one, so the folder that you're going to use where all your pictures are for this site that you did last week, collected the pictures, you put them in a folder, whether it's on a drive, it should be also in the local folder or the network folder of the computer you're working on. So you can have it on your jump drive, but then move it into there so it's permanently there. Because as soon as you remove your jump drive, all that stuff goes with you. So download it all into the local or network folder. Okay, now we're going to start a new blank document. So you're going to go to File, New, and this menagerie of things shows up. We're staying simple. You're going to make sure HTML is clicked here and none is clicked for the layout, and we create. We go back to split screen because we always like to see what our HTML is doing, right? And this is where we begin. So the first thing we do, and this is why you need to be in Adobe Dreamweaver CS6, because we're going to make an AP div, and CC doesn't have those. You have to build them, and that's one of the benefits of CS6. It still deals in AP divs, which is a very long, involved story, and it's nothing you really need to worry about right now because we're not going to go far enough into it. So to create an AP div, you're going to go to Insert, so right up here, and then Layout. And then the third one down here says AP div, okay? It's kind of old-fashioned. It's just a box, creates a box. And this is where you are going to insert that bio that I asked you to create. A paragraph about yourself, 2 paragraphs, whatever. I have one sitting here. So I'm going to go up to mine, and I have, as you can see, I created a little, I've got Rainbow Wheel. I have too many things open. Okay, as you can see, I've created a bio, which I use when I do different things that I do. And I'm just going to take part of it. I don't need to use the whole thing right now. I'm going to copy it. And as you'll see in the directions, let me see if I can pop to the directions right here. Right here in red, if you're using Word, make sure when you paste special. So I'm going to show you that right now. So I'm going to click inside of this AP div, and I'm going to do Edit, Paste Special, because it's special. We want to leave this all alone. It should just be text with structure so that it keeps our paragraphs aligned and all of that. And we hit OK. It's going to be long and narrow probably because we didn't give it any space, but if you just do this, you can pull it out. And there it is. It's a box now. See? Just a box. That's what it is. It's called an AP div. It makes our lives a whole lot easier for what we're using it for. So you want to make sure that that gets pasted. Now we also want to have a title. I forgot to. This is called My Biography. And you can decide whatever yours is. And you want to turn any of your titles, if you have subtitles or anything, now into your H1s or H2s. So I'm just going to highlight my biography, and right down here in the properties area, which is really important, you're going to click here and you're going to make this a header 1. Look at that. Notice when now look down there where it says header 1, right? And I'm going to click over here by my paragraph. See how it turns into, it knows that this is a paragraph, okay? So you want to make sure, and you're going to have time after I'm done speaking to make it all pretty, okay? I'm just giving you the overview of how this works. The next thing you're going to do is those links I asked you to come up with, you're going to add them in. So I'm going to show you mine. One of mine's the University of Arizona, which is where I got my undergrad. So I'm going to highlight that, and it's down here in the paragraph. I'm going to go to my link now. My link is right here. I'm going to copy it. And there's several ways you can do this, but the easiest way is to go right down here to where it says link, and I'm going to paste it. And when I do that, oh, and we want the target, this is important, to be new. Now, what does that mean? That means it's going to open in a new page. And that's really important information, right? Because don't you hate when you're working on a website or in a website and you click on it and it takes over the page you're using? That's not what we want. We want it to open in a new page. So you always have to put target new after you put the link in. One of my second ones is the new school, another place I got educated. And I'm going to go here, and I've already saved that link like I've asked you to do. And I'm going to highlight it. These are pretty easy links. I could have just typed them in, but copy it. And I'm going to paste it into this link here. Paste. And I'm going to put target what? Target new. Okay. I've created these two. Now I want to make sure these work, right? And every time we want to look and see if something works, we go to File, Preview in Browser. I'm going to use Firefox. You can use Safari. Firefox tends to work better. And look what it's asking. It's saying, I haven't saved this yet. I have to save this before I do anything. So I'm going to cancel it for a second. And I'm going to save this page as File, Save As, and we're all going to save it as the same thing, index.html. And you're going to make sure it goes into your folder. I'm actually going to put it into my other site folder because it's where all my other stuff is. But you're going to go into the folder that you've created specifically for this site. Okay, hit OK. I am going to replace it because I had started one already. And now I can preview in browser. And just take a look at what I've created so far. Oh, that's a beautiful website, isn't it? Now I can click on the University of Arizona. It's going to go right to the University of Arizona. So I've added my links in. My internet's working a little slow, but as you can see, the University of Arizona is popping up. So I don't have to go through all that. So now I can close it. I know I've done it right. Now, just for your knowledge, I want to also add an email here, right? Email me at DRSCRDL. This is my personal email if you ever need it. Now, how do we make that a link? Okay, so I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to go up here to this little email thing under Common. Okay, I'm going to click on it, and there it is. It's saying, do you want this text to match this email? And I'm going to say, yes, I absolutely do. And now it's an email link. Isn't that easy? Okay, so all of these things up here, you can do your links this way too. I could have highlighted, clicked on there and did it. I like going down here, but this common area has all kinds of real easy gadgets for you to play with. So if I wanted to do the new school this way, I could highlight it and I could do hyperlink and I could put the link right here, which I've already done, so I don't have to do it again. And where'd my target be? My target would be new, okay? So if that might be easier for you to work with using these right up here. And as you notice over in our code, it puts it all in for you and it's showing you exactly what it did. I can go here to my email. It's like, so what'd you do there? Look, it says email to drsusangardilla@gmail.com. So it gives you all the information that you're preparing here. So now you've tested your links. You make sure they're all in. You've got your bio or whatever it is about you you're going to say on your home page. This website's about me and this is who I am. Now we're going to start making it pretty. Okay, so we're going to insert an image right at the beginning, right where it says, maybe it's going to be my picture. And I want to insert an image here. So we put the cursor right there, and then we do insert image. And we're going to look for the image. My site's here already, so I could have either gone to desktop and then down to my site and then clicked on my monkey because I like my monkey, and then we're going to open it, okay? And this right here, another important thing. What this is accessibility attributes. This is for people who may be unable to see but still want to browse the internet, and they are unable to make out a picture or understand a picture. So we put the text of what it is. And if there is an actual website you got it from, you can put it there as well. But as long as you put alternative text, like what that picture is, if it's of you, just put, Jane Smith or whatever your name is. Don't put Jane Smith because that'd be silly. So you just want to do that first, and then the monkey will pop up, or your picture will pop up. If you look like a monkey, even better, because look how cute he is. You see it's huge, right? So instead of trying to grab it on the ends and pull it in, where do we go? We go right down here. Now it's really huge, and I don't want it to be. I'm going to go down, I think, 200. Once I do that, I have to make sure that this right here is locked. And that way, it'll keep its integrity. Okay? That's really, really important. If I unlock that, and I change this to 100, it's going to keep the, see what it does there? It keeps the 277, but it uses, so now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do 200, but I'm going to lock it, and it makes it normal, okay? But did you notice that it's not wrapping around the words? And now I'm going to show you how to do that. And to do that, we use CSS. Remember, that's what makes things pretty. And this is where this program gets to be a lot of fun. So the first thing I want you to do before we start using the CSS is go up here to your square, and there's a little box in the corner, and I want you to click on it, okay? And that is right now titled AP Div 1 if you look down here. I want you to change that name to content, C-O-N-T-E-N-T, content, and you'll understand why in a little bit. Okay, now that we have it and we're clicked on it, make sure you're clicked on it, I want you to go over to your CSS styles area over here and drop down that styles, and there it is, the word content. Okay, so we're going to double click on that, and we're going to create a way for the text, the pictures to float left or right on your site. Okay, so we have this open. Now we are going to, wait, close that up a sec. First, we're going to go down here. So we're in the CSS styles. It says content. We're all good. There's a little thing that looks like a piece of paper where it says new CSS rule when you roll over it. It's next to a thing that's got like a little link. So you're going to click on the new CSS rule. Okay? And if you follow the directions that are on the PowerPoint, it gives you all this information as well. And I'll separate that out for you so it's on one sheet in case you want to print it out and follow. We want this to be a class because we're just telling it something we want done. And we want to name it float left, but we're not going to use any vowels. So FLT, float, LFT. I know that's a little weird, but FLT, LFT. And we're only going to do it for this document. We don't want it for the entire thing right now. And then we hit OK. We are going to finish this off by going to the box here. And we are going to make sure that it says next to the word float, we want it to be left. And next to this here, padding, we want a 10 because we want some room around it. We don't want it to be flush up. And hit apply. Okay? And then hit OK. Now let's do that also for float right, so we have it for later. So you're going to click on the new CSS rule. It's in class, and FLT-RT this time, float right. Okay, we hit OK, and then we go to the box, and we go float right. And this time we also do 10, and we hit apply, and we hit OK. We've just created 2 rules. You see them sitting right over here under content? These are rules now of CSS. So now when I click on the little guy, let me move this over a little bit. So I want to click on him, and if you look down here in the properties panel, it's all about him, all about the monkey boy, and we want him to take on one of these attributes of this CSS rule, right? So we go back over here to where it says class. Remember we started with class when we made the rule? And we want to float him left, okay? And look at that, he floats right to the left, and there he is. Now we want to take a look at the work we've done. So we go to File, we go to Preview in Browser, and I'm going to preview in Firefox. Oh, but we have to save it. Every single time it's going to ask you that, and always save. Well, there it is. There's the beginning of my little website, okay? So it's all looking the way it's supposed to, right? I'm going to close it up. And we're going to continue on. We're going to do a little bit more fancying here, okay? The next thing we want to do is we want to make it pretty, right? So we want to click anywhere inside the website, but inside the website, but outside the div. This square is called the div. So let's click right here, okay? Right on the outside. I've made my box fairly large. We can even go to design mode for a moment so that we can see what it really looks like. And then you can just click on the outside of the div. And go down here to Page Properties, okay? We're going to click on Page Properties. And the appearance of this page, you can change the font. So I'm going to go to, I always like Georgia, since we live in Georgia. And then I want to change my background color. I want to make it something that matches my monkey. So I'm going to actually use the dropper. You can pick any one of these colors, but when the dropper shows up, I can actually drop it right into his clothes and get the color of his shirt, which I really think is cool. And then I'm going to hit apply and OK. And look at that. My monkey has himself a color that matches his shirt. But are you noticing that the div itself is also that color? So how do we fix that? Well, click on the div now. And you can do background color right here of the div. It has none as of right now. I'm just going to go with a light, let's see, a light blue that kind of complements the blue I have. Oh, and when you see something like this happen, what you have to do is click here and make sure there is no height here. Make it a 0. Make the height of this CSS element a 0, and it should correct that problem. See that? So, I don't know if I like that color all that much, but I can always go back to it and I can change it. And this is going to be something you'll do. I'm looking for a really nice blue. I can, what if I do like the beige of his, no, that might look weird. That's okay. I'm going to go with that just for fun. So that changes the color. So if you click on the actual CSS or the div here, this will pop up down here and you can change things within. See the class there and all of that? If you click outside, you'll go to the page properties and you'll be able to change the fonts and the sizes and those sort of things, okay? So that's where you're going with that. And you're going to play around with this, okay? Just remember that if your div doesn't have an empty, when you go to add the color to it, if this bottom H part, which I can get rid of again if I want to, is not empty, you will have a cutoff point because it's stopping it from going all the way to the bottom, okay? And let me preview this in my Firefox and see how beautiful it is. Okay, have to save it every time. Oh, what's happened here? My div isn't showing up. My div color isn't showing up, although he does look really cute. And that could just be because we are not in permanent yet. Let's hit live here. If you hit live here, it's still not showing up. So there's something that we have to play around with. Once you hit live, though, it's always best to go back to split. See, live is still lit up, as they say. So we will go back into why things might not be showing up in a little bit. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some padding. You see how close this is to the edge here? Well, we probably want to add some padding so it doesn't look so tight. And the way we do that is we go back over here to the styles and we double click on the content, okay? I want you to go to the box and I want you to put padding in, okay? So we're gonna add 10, and as long as this is clicked, you're good. It goes all the way down. We're gonna hit apply and we're gonna hit okay, and see how it added just a little bit. If you want more, you can add more to it. That's up to you. Also, we wanna make sure that when this is on a different size screen, that it adjusts appropriately. So the way you do that is double click again, and you're going to go to box, and over here in margins you're going to unclick the word same, and on the top you're going to do, and these are averages so you can play around with this, 180 on the top, and then the right and left you're going to put on auto, and on the bottom you're going to do 0, because 0 we want it to be able to keep going, right? And you're going to hit apply and you're going to hit OK. This gave you some room up here to play around in, because we're going to have to put in other things, right? You know, the links to your different pages and your toolbar and such, okay? So that's another thing you want to do. You also want to make sure that in the positioning, so double click again and go back to go over here to positioning, and you want to clear out the word absolute. You just want to empty it. Okay, go there. And then the other thing you want to empty is the number for height, if there's any number for height, okay? And then just hit OK. And that should give you kind of an overall solid amount of room for you to be able to work in. Let's go to design mode so we can see it. So he's fairly centered, just everything. And there's one more thing I want you to be able to do before you play around on your own. I want to make sure that the background is fixed, is attached, so that when you scroll, like we're doing now, it doesn't stay put while you scroll through. So again, you're going to go double click here, and you're going to go to background, and you're going to make sure that it's fixed, okay? You have to hit apply and okay. Now if I wanted to take this background and make it a, watch this, I want to go to the background and I want to put in an image. I have an image of a sky. So let's just say you want your whole background to be an image, which is always kind of cool. You hit OK. And I don't want the image to repeat itself, so no repeat. Now my image may not be big enough, we'll have to see. If it repeats itself, it's a bunch of little images throughout. And I hit apply. So the background within, see, it wasn't big enough. So if I go back there and I change that background to repeat, you'll see what happens. See, it takes over for me. And I can also do that on the regular background. So I don't like that. I'm going to go back and undo that. So go to background, and I am going to take this out. Zoop. And sometimes it does, the apply won't come up, so you have to play around with it a little bit. None. See if I put none, it works. Okay, so none, and my color comes back. We can go back over here and click into the page properties, sorry. And if I want to do an image for the whole background here, I just click on sky and I open sky. And do I want it to repeat? I probably have to have it. Let's see if I do no repeat, what happens. See, it's so small, it just takes over that one corner. If you had a really big picture, it would work. It would work over the whole thing. And I think I gave you numbers for really big pictures. I mean, for backgrounds, what you could use. So look, I did that, and this is what happens. I have now a background. Let's see if it fixed itself when I go to Preview in Browser. And just a warning with Preview in Browser, it's not a definite. It's because Dreamweaver is a temporary file until you export it and upload it to the web. So sometimes you'll get things like this. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. It just, it doesn't always show the way it's supposed to. If you go to live mode, it should. The only thing I don't like about live mode, you see it's doing it in live mode as well. So as long as it's working in design mode, you should be good for right now. Don't let it worry you too much. And now I want you to play around. I want you to come up with your title of have your title in and have your bio in with your picture or some picture and your email address with 2 links. And that's going to be the beginning of your project. That's what you're going to work on this week. I want you to play around with making it nice, making it something you would want to share with people. And then I'm going to ask you to upload a screenshot of your final product to the forum that I'm going to have set up so others can see it. And I'm going to ask you to each share with each other. In a kind way, of course, because if somebody really looks like a monkey, that's okay. We still love them. But anyway, so that's for this week. I just want you to get started. I want you to play around here and feel a little more comfortable with how this space works. And then we'll pick it up and add more next week.